Freedom is the right of all sentient beings.
What is this Facebook Live? I've never heard of this shit.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Hi, Lieutenant. How are you doing? Aw, did you find your land nav point, Lieutenant? Good job, Lieutenant. You get a
Expert Action Badge.
Put on your uniform right?
Expert Action Badge.
Show up to work on time.
Expert Action Badge.
Qualify on your weapon.
Expert Action Badge. Badge of Action.
Find your guidon.
Expert Action Badge.
That's right. Just doing your noble warrior task and drills, you get a
Expert Action Badge.
Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
Shit in a bag, Pogue. Badge of Action. The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio. Action Badge.
This is a public service announcement from C.T. Fletcher. I will not contribute to the pussification of a nation. Get your punk ass out there and work for it, motherfucker.
Let's roll.
Morning, Sergeant Major.
How do you know what kind of goddamn day it is?
Beautiful morning, Sergeant Major.
Are you a fucking weatherman now?
You're listening to Sergeant's Time on WTF Nation Radio.
I'm your hosts, and of course, in the gunna seat I got Spanky.
Hey y'all, that's me.
Oh, man. Anywho, I'm actually I'm actually wearing a fleece jacket because last time we had Sergeant's Time and all, so we were discussing the fleece and the fleece, and people were getting mad at the fleece. And now that I have my house, my room finally warmed up a little bit, it's time to take off the fleece because it's hot.
All right, you have shown the fleece.
I have shown the fleece. I have the fleece. Jason, my man Jason out there, we were talking about the fleece and finding whoobies and finding old stuff. So now it's time to doff the fleece because man, this thing is hot. Man, it's so hot with the fleece in here. Anyway,
and you're using it as an outer layer.
And I'm using it as an outer layer. You know, I was thinking about leaving my sergeant major rank and my name on there, but then I didn't want everybody to get all pissed off and start screaming.
Stolen valor.
Yeah, start everybody to say, he's out of the army now. How come he's wearing that stolen valor? So I figured I just, just to troll the people who complain about it being not authorized as an outer garment, which we've already discussed that the Army G1 uniform sergeant major and the sergeant major of the Army have already concurred that it is an outer garment. And it's not starch, Chris. It's not starch. Don't even go there, dude.
Mine always was Downy Fresh. I like to put the fabric softener in my
fleece. Right. Who does not like to have fresh, washed, outer garment fleece? Just make sure you have your rake on, and then you're good to go. You know what I mean? Exactly that. Maybe I'll wear a whoopee or something like that for the next intro for Sergeant's Time.
Maybe. I'm not saying I am because I'm a lazy girl, and I don't want to put on clothes. But maybe next week I will do the camera and I'll get my whoopee too because I do have my whoopee.
Wait, what? Did you? Hang on.
I said maybe.
It's just like just put 7 stars on it. It's not stolen valor. Exactly that, Gary. Oh man, what a week. So tonight we're going to have a very deep discussion when it comes to the discussion of sexual assault and cancer. I'm going to tell you what, we have Rockstar coming on right here, Sheyla Scholl. She's going to come and hang out with us and shoot the breeze. And there's going to be some deep conversations and deep topics I'm just giving you guys a forewarning right now that if it's too much for you to handle or something like that, but I really think you need to sit in and listen to her story because I had sat into one of her briefings and whew, man, it is man, you'll be moved. I was. So it's just one of those things to You still have your name tape on the back here, please?
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, sorry. Never mind. It felt. I got the feels. I fucking talks amongst yourselves.
Right.
You know, just some of the story. Like I said, first off, it was an honor to be invited to one of her LPDs. She wasn't briefing like a class. She's senior ranking individuals. So stay tuned to that. She's going to be on here on 2100 after the 2100 break or after the 9 p.m. breaks.
Eastern,
yeah.
Because some of y'all be getting confused.
Yeah, Eastern, exactly. So if you want to get in my face, go right ahead on the time differences for those of you who don't know blah. But at any rate, what was I going to say? What was that? Oh, so this whole, I don't know, Mill News lately has been kind of pissing me off.
I see. I see lots of angry emotions coming from you.
You saw some of the stuff that I was pissed off about, currently finding out right now about the Abbey bombing and the deployment to Poland. That just kind of like some of the shit that I read from if you go and check out on our timeline on Facebook, check out Task and Purpose article about the investigation that discloses a lot of the information. You're also going to find out some details, and it's gonna infuriate you, and the fact that how we manage this cluster of a withdrawal from Afghanistan. I don't care how you want to protect yourself on it. I don't care how many PAOs like to come out and protect their commands on this, but it was one of the biggest clusters on the planet. Honestly, I'm waiting for accountability. Kind of like the question when you had that Lieutenant Colonel, what's his Sheller dude, asking all that. Now, are you kind of looking back at some of his videos? Not from the like really weird ones, but like for the first one when he was asking about accountability and asking what was going on. Does anybody feel that now he's a little bit vindicated from that first video? Do you think that?
I mean, probably from the first video, yes. But, with him being an officer, he knows better than to kind of post all that on social media. So it's not like...
What?
I think he was correct in the way he was doing it.
Well, officers
also know that sometimes you gotta say shit loud.
Officers,
very loud.
Officers posting shit on social media and getting trouble for it? No. See, I'm about to say the Marine Corps does a whole lot. I never. How dare you, of excellence, say that an officer would. I know Marine Corps was pretty stringent on their freaking social media shit posting, but I know the Army. Yeah, let's not even talk about that. But let's be blowing up like I'm supposed to go to their feed or drama. So what? You don't have angry chicks blowing up your feed? Well, what's like I'm supposed to go to their feed for drama or some stuff because some chicks do not get all the. Oh Lord, what? What is she talking about? I
have no idea.
I don't know.
Okay, moving on.
Anyways. Next slide, please.
Sorry, yes. I already clicked the next slide.
You already, yeah. So I was reading some of the testimony. I was also advised that the investigation did, and I didn't want to read the investigation fully, only because I knew what was happening all the way up until the point where the Abbey bombing was killed, and a member of family, military family in the community that I used to serve in, the PSYOP community. Staff Sergeant Ryan Nouse. There's details about that. So that to keep my curiosity, I know I'm already pissed off as it is, but I wanted to keep that off base because I did not want it to detract from the memory of the kid. But you don't have to fucking know that. You don't have to be a genius. Actually, you could just be a layperson or not being involved in the military and just read some of the articles and see some of the interviews and the testimonies, and you realize that holy crap. This was botched. This was 5 levels of botched. I'm not saying that I could have done it. Go ahead.
You could have done what? I'm sorry.
I'm not saying that I could have done it any better or something like that, nor do I have the stars on it, but it doesn't take a 4-star general or a bunch of fucking generals to realize that the situation they were at the Abbey Gate was already something coming.
Like I said, I do agree that I have not read the report either. It's just that for my own personal reasons, it's like, no, I don't want to. I just know it'll upset me, and I have no control over it, nothing I can do about it. That's me. All right, but I do think that, hey, stop trying to PAO your way out of it.
Right.
I think, a lot more people, including the families of those soldiers that were killed, but I have a lot more respect for you if you just say, yeah, we fucked up.
just didn't seem like it was that was the case. It just seemed like it was like some serious passing of the buck. You know what I mean? It was one of those, hey, that's not what happened, or this is not what happened, what we could have done, and this, this, and this. And then, of course, the State Department and their stuff. It was just a fucking shit show. I'll say it. Everyone should say it. Everyone should read that article. Go ahead on our timeline, look at it.
Yes, it is posted.
It's posted on our timeline anyways, and on WTF Nation Radio, and you can see the Task and Purpose article. And you're just like, dude, it's Benghazi Part 2. Man, I don't know, man. Is this no, oh, you're talking about the accountability side. Well, by the time there's any accountability, what will happen? It'll. I mean, what was the accountability? The guys that droned that family afterwards. I mean, like I'm saying, this Mill News this week has just been so. It's just been so. Damn, man.
Devastating.
Yeah, just
there's really no other way to put it. I won't use the word triggering, but the kind of news that pisses you off.
Right. I guess for something like that would be probably triggering. Of course, you could say that.
Yeah. I just don't like the word.
Yeah, I just don't like the word either, man. I just say when you say trigger, and
it's like got a negative connotation to it that you are, upset about something that a reasonable person would not be upset about. Any reasonable person would be upset about,
exactly
what went down.
There you go. There you go. A reasonable person, if they were read the document, would probably and seen video and seen the events happening, unfolding on social media and in the news. You'll definitely have seen, holy crap! And then, of course, seeing Afghans falling off, C-17s to kind of like icing on the cake or something like that.
Yeah. And I mean, I think not just from this situation, but for anything that isn't going, PAO pretty, you got to realize everything is documented in real time now. This is not even 20 years ago.
What did you say? PAO
pretty.
PAO pretty? What is that? That
means that everything is going perfect. The PAO is happy. He's not going to have to explain anything. He's not going to have to make any statements. He can post, successful stories. Everything just went wonderfully according to plan.
Well,
that's PAO pretty.
There you go. And now, what happens if something goes wrong? Then is there excuses made for PAO pretty?
All right. Well, then PAO tries to pretty it up. And I'm not saying the PAOs are making the call on this. We all know the PAOs work for their boss.
Of course.
And they speak for their boss. So don't take it personally, PAOs. I'm really not, this is not against y'all, as people. I know what your job is. So, like I said, so they try to put fuck-ups in a more favorable light, and within training and things like that, that's the places that we're supposed to fuck up at. You're supposed to learn from your mistakes, right? But what they need to realize, not just the POs, our leaders need to realize, is everything is recorded in real time now. Everything. Everybody has a camera in their pocket, and there's going to be video. Even when everything was going down at the pullout of Afghanistan, you can just go on the Snap map on Snapchat and see what everybody's posting. I do that. I go all over the world and see what's going on in the world, not from the news, from what people post on Snapchat.
As a matter of fact, you were the one that highlighted to me how much the situation was deteriorating by directing me to said snaps. You know what I mean?
Yes. If you pull up the world map, you can see, what. And I'm not even saying these weren't even they were soldiers posting it. This is anybody with a cell phone that was at that airport or outside of that airport. It was a lot of it, whoever was narrating it, I couldn't understand because, I am very American and only speak English. So, every other, I mean, that's just a joke from living overseas. Americans are the only ones that are not bilingual in the world, basically. So, yeah. So,
you don't habla Espanol. You don't speak.
No. I can understand just a little. I can tell if you're talking about me in both Spanish and French, but I can't speak it.
Okay, all right. I always think that it's I always think that it's rude. I was telling somebody today that it's disrespectful to speak a foreign language if they don't know it. You know what I mean? It's like a real. You know what I mean? If you just start rapping, how do I call you from Poland? Well, how do you call us from Poland? Well, from your number, from your phone number there, Stanislaw Dębinski, you would go ahead and give us a call at 001-415-889-8367, and that's how you would get a hold of us from Polska. That way you can give us a call, and I can say "Dzień dobry panu," and then there we go. Now I can rap some of that stuff too, but it would be disrespectful to the audience if I don't speak English to everybody else.
Right? Like, okay, I guess I'll just hang up because I only speak English. Like, I'm not gonna say, like, even like in Korea, I can understand like the main, like, hello, goodbye, where's the bathroom, how to get to the train station, things like that. But no, I don't know. It's just not something I could pick up. But
I hear you.
Actually,
but you're right.
say the words.
Yeah, but you could tell by in some of the inflections of their voices when they were like freaking out, seeing guys falling out of a C-17, falling off. You can understand pretty much the emotion that it wasn't good. You know what I mean? They were like, oh God. If you want to just go ahead and just look out the withdrawal of Afghanistan, then look at the testimonies, and then look at the investigation. Go on Task and Purpose's website that has that information, that has the investigation. I'm so freaking angry reading it. I cannot be angry. Are you fucking for real, dude? It's just,
What was that number again? How do you call it? 001?
Yeah, you have to dial from Europe from a country code.
Okay.
And it would be 00 from 001 and then 415. If you look at the scroll right there, just put 001 in front of it, Stan. Just put that in front of it. 001-415-889-8367. So you can give us all your Poland sergeanting there from whatever post you're calling from. There you go. Post that up.
There, I just put it in the chat for you this time.
There you go. It's right there.
And then Kaz even did it more professionally.
Kaz,
with, like, some dashes. Thank you, Kaz. I don't like. I try to type very quiet now. Like, I am far away from my keyboard, so y'all don't like hear me go.
You're doing
because I'm an angry typer.
You are.
You in my best mood.
You got all that NCOing in your fingertips, and you just want to like post the stuff out. So anyways, that topic of the Afghan withdrawal, I just know that just reading these news and then speaking to some of the reporters from Task and Purpose. Oh, here we go! Oh, holy crap! We got a call. We got a call. Let me see. We got this from. It's been a long time since we had an international call.
I think you're gonna have to let it ring a little longer.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. WTF Nation Radio, you're on the air.
Oh, hello.
Hey, what's up, man? Dzień dobry.
Dzień dobry.
Dzień dobry. Okay, so now we got to go English. So go ahead. What do you got, man? You're calling us from Poland.
Yeah. I'm calling from Poland.
Okay.
Well, I'm very surprised that you answered.
I'm surprised. You're surprised that you're what?
That you answered my phone.
Oh, no, it'd be a surprise. We'll take. If we tell you to call, we'll answer the phone, man. We'll answer the phone. That's why we gave you the phone number.
Yeah. Well, I live in Poland, as you used to know.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know what happened in our border.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I could see that, man. What's going on over there? You have Russia over there, huh?
Yeah, no, it's Belarusian.
Uh-huh.
Yes, you come to... I'm sorry for my English, but...
It's okay, man. It's okay. Go ahead. You got a few more minutes you can talk. Go ahead.
But you are come to us, and then it's the better luck is that team from Soviet Union has come and do whatever they do. You come to us and you might sell us an Abrams tank.
So you've seen a bunch of our tanks running around, huh?
Yes, we're looking. We have the couple hundred of T-76, so it's much more crap, I guess.
Yes, the T-76 is a crap tank. M1 is the best. M1 Abrams is the best tank.
Yes, we are looking for that. We are also looking for F-35 planes.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, you guys, so, okay. Well, thank you for calling. I appreciate this.
Thank you very much, and have a nice day, I guess.
Okay, you have a good day, too. Thank you. Appreciate it. Ciao.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow.
Oh, we got a caller from Poland.
Hey, I'm just happy we got. I wanted to jump in with some foreign languages and stuff like that, but I didn't want to disrespect the audience and stuff like that. I was going to rap in some German or something like that, or maybe show some some of that Slavic slang and stuff. Maybe I can throw out, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to. But I guess he's seeing some tanks and stuff, huh? Well, that's pretty.
Right.
I guess we'll have. I guess the counter intel individuals and all the intel 3-letter agencies can go ahead and just, go ahead and check.
Right. Yeah. If any of you, alphabets, you want to call in and tell us there's no tanks. Yeah, we got dudes on the ground.
Exactly. We have Dave from Canada. We have Canadian Dave that's giving us our Monday reports on the truck protest, and now and then now we have now we have some boots on the ground in Poland. Is that legal? Can we get in trouble for taking phone calls from Poland or something like that? Someone's gonna get mad or something like that?
Why? I mean, what? Hey, alphabet guy that listens in on this call, it's cool. We're not allowed. Just send us a text.
We're just asking. We're just trying to feel this out. You know what I mean? Unless he's got dirt of what Joes are doing in Poland. You know what I mean? I'm probably saying something like that, but you should have gone for it and just translate after. Yeah,
my FBI guy name is Bob. I just say that's his name. So Bob, if you have a problem with what we're doing, just let me know.
Yeah, exactly. My FBI agent right now is going like, "What the hell did he just said?"
Right.
Exactly.
Like I said, definitely listen and call into WTF Nation Radio. Get yourself on some watch lists like the rest of us.
Exactly. Why not get where everyone thinks we're on we are on a watch list for anything anyway. It's just by shit posting online. Today on WTF Nation Radio's Facebook page, we had a landmine that was posted. And it was a Roomba. I think we took
spicy Roomba.
A spicy Roomba that we took from the main page, as a matter of fact. It was from the main page, and we shared it. And the next thing you know, it was like, bam!
You're inciting violence.
You're inciting violence. I'm like, it's a Roomba. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, it's just a picture of a mine. And so we didn't say anything. We just said that it was a spicy Roomba. But Diana, that's right. Poles are not Russian. That's correct. That's right. But that whole situation right now, that's a good point too. I'm glad. I think we talked about this. How military reporters right now, after the deployment of the IRF, 18th Airborne Corps, and the 82nd Airborne Division, 82nd Airborne.
All right, you go ahead and say it.
Out of brag, 82nd Airborne. The most
36 minutes before we talked about brag.
Before we talked about back at brag, yeah, exactly that. Probably some soft elements going out there with to GoArmySoft.com, of course. GoArmySoft.com And then, of course, 18th Emerald Corps are the most expeditionary organizations in the U.S. Army. I don't see any other units going out to do some stuff like this. So there you go. If you want to sit on a bench, go right ahead. But if you don't want, then go ahead. Then just whatever. GoArmySoft.com. That's just me. So they jammed us up for a freaking mine that we posted from the main page. Main page didn't get in trouble. But, you know, of course, little old radio page got jammed up. I was like, that's messed up.
It's our alphabet guy.
It is. And it was funny because
our alphabet guy is paying more attention than the main page's alphabet guy.
And what's funny is that it was disputed, and immediately we just said, hey, we're gonna stick Flash and Mom on you, and the next thing you know, they like, oh no, you can put it back. So if you saw that post disappear, then all of a sudden you saw the post come back on. I guess we had some right alphabet people. But anyways, yes. So there's a group of military reporters and media that normally on a big event like this, it's like freaking embeds. You have embeds that go and with deploying units, and for some reason there was no embeds, there was no reporters. Like I expected to see some reporters going on some of them C-17s, so maybe from the AP or Task and Purpose. I expected to see some reporters, along the ride. You know what I mean?
Well, after what happened in Afghanistan, they don't want somebody on the ground with them no more. I don't care. That's just my opinion.
Ooh, so you're saying the PAO pretty stuff?
Yeah,
trying to get.
It might not be PAO pretty. So they think if they don't have better reporters. Which we've had, since I don't know, reporting was a thing. If they don't have better reporters, they have time to clean up anything that's not pretty before it gets reported.
Wow, Spanky,
you
are usually
has a fucking camera in their pocket, so
yeah.
Just let them come with you.
You are usually pretty freaking open to having reporters to, and I was like, man, I mean, that's
cranky today.
You are cranky. You usually are bashing. I mean, you usually support. Like it must be an off day because it's usually me cracking on the PAOs and all that, and then now it's you cracking on the PAOs, and I like this dynamic. It's okay. It's okay.
We gotta switch up the good cop bad cop sometimes.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody getting butthurt. What are you saying shh for? You don't have to shh. We're talking, yeah, go ahead and talk amongst your chats. Go ahead. There's topics that we're not going to talk about that you keep throwing in the chats that we're not going to talk about. Because this is Sergeant's time. This is what we're doing, Sergeant.
And I will burn to this fucking station to the ground if y'all start trying to talk about politics on Sergeant's time.
Right. Now we can talk about the political aspects of some of the military operations that we've had.
Yeah.
That's sergeanting a little bit. But talking about, which is a topic more likely going to be for Friday Night Freedom tomorrow. I can't wait for the crack pipe, the crack pipe episode. That's going to be the crack pipe discussion.
See, it's freedom. They talk about whatever on Fridays.
Exactly. Friday Night Freedom.
When they talk about ghost fuckers or whatever. I don't know.
Ghost. What the hell are you talking about now?
I don't know.
Holy shit.
I don't even know. Like I said, it's just something that I think Pookie would have some expertise on.
I know. Pookie would be on their line going, and then we saw them ghosts. And then, I love you, Pooks. Love you, Kaz.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
Yeah, so that's political stuff. That's gonna be like, yeah.
Yes.
But we're talking about, anyways. So there's a group of military reporters, and I even kind of asked the question too. I was kind of like, yeah, you know what? Why don't they? Why aren't there embeds? Why aren't embeds coming on? Why isn't why isn't the reporters mounting up and hanging out with the most expeditionary organization out of the Sandhills out of
North Carolina.
Back and brag. So that's a good question too. Why aren't reporters allowed to go with them? The embeds. Now, of course, what sucks is that if a reporter were to just go ahead and jump in on a plane and just take off to do it, then man, of course, imagine if like a reporter from, I don't know, pick a reporter or pick a news agency were to just go on their own, and then all of a sudden, the Clean Daily Herald, yeah, exactly. Well, let's just say it. Somebody from the Fayetteville Observer or the Clean Daily Herald, they decide to say, you know what, screw it, we're going to go to Ukraine and we're going to see what's going on. And then what if, like you said, PAO pretty doesn't work? PAO pretty activated. You know what I mean? And
well, yeah, even if they did go over there on their own dime or their publication's dime, I mean, they're probably not getting on any of the camps or whatever they're calling them over there.
I think I think to ensure that there was, and I'll say this, so that way there was not enough PAO prettying. I like that, PAO pretty. I love that. I love that right now. PAO pretty doesn't happen. That means you're going to send embeds, and that way they're good to go to show up. So that way, if there's anything, you're caching information real time. That's really happening right when it's happening, and there's no delay and all that stuff. And I guarantee it, had they had sent embeds to Poland or to wherever area they're going to go to launch off from or what have you, then I guarantee it, this would have been a whole different topic of conversation, because now everyone's like asking. Yeah. Like I said, I was surprised that you were like, backing up the, you were backing up the reporters more than the PAOs. I like how you ask questions when I talk about a reporter. You're like, who's that? Is this the one that's right here? Are we talking about this one? And then you're like, I stopped.
Well, there's some reporters I absolutely do not like.
Well,
there are.
Well, I'm just saying, but not really. My point is that you always ask the question. You're like, who's that? Where are they from? This, or you say you're being mean to that PAO. You're maybe you shouldn't have set that to the PAO. Why'd you email that or something like that? And then now I'm just lost at the fact that you're just like being. You're doing this. You're being mean to PAOs. I'm just like, I like it.
I'm not being mean to PAOs.
This is a new look. I like it. No, it's okay.
I am being mean to whatever it is they are told to put out, because there is not a doubt in my mind that PAOs are not the ones that are deciding how to spin anything. And we all know PAOs do it. Every reporter does it. Everybody, will spin their article whichever way they want, either to A, get more clicks, more readers, or B, make their unit look good. So,
to tell the Army story from their unit's point of view, you know what I mean? That's the
yes, exactly.
To craft narrative,
their unit to look good.
To craft the unit's story and narrative and all that, and not have any extra injected political drama involved. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. Let the reporters do the political drama on it.
Right, exactly. So. There you go. Yeah. Right. So I think I'm gonna have to tell you though, some of the Army posts, the U.S. Army social media posts, and some of the units overseas, they've been posting some G shit. They've been posting some good stuff. They've been posting some, hey, look all these javelins we're teaching these people how to use. look at all these tanks and aircraft flying around here. No. That's right, Stan. Man, we are your ally, Stan. We are definitely your ally. And
yes,
definitely your ally. Don't ever let anybody say otherwise. Part of NATO, UTAN. So, but yeah, dude, it's just like freaking. It's just like I don't understand why they wouldn't do it. I mean, I know, of course, I can go into the conjecture and assumptions that the White House is telling the DoD we don't want a repeat of all the shit coverage, like you said, of the Afghan withdrawal, which is why we don't want to have embeds. I don't want to add that line too, because I know people are now going to start looking at these podcasts and how we talk, because you start looking at these podcasts and how some of the shaping stuff you're going to go on, they're going to be like WTF Nation Radio shit talking the White House or shit talking DoD.
Well, yeah, we should talk everybody though equally, and when you're doing great things, we talk about that too.
Right, exactly. Joseph said we talking about the MP battalion that took away the chairs and their PAO was talking shit. Damn.
Wait, did I miss that?
Did I miss something? Please enlighten me.
Trust me, I love a good shit talking PAO too.
Yeah.
It's been a few years because whoever used to run Bragg's social media page. Look, I'm even talking about Bragg. They were awesome.
Like a Bragg.
Because I just loved to read them commenting back on people. So
yeah, the clapbacks that they used to do until they got busted or until that media page got taken down because somebody forgot to switch accounts and they were thirsting on OnlyFans.
Yes.
Person.
I wonder if that was the same guy because
I don't know, man. Because like I said, I've talked to PAOs. Back at Bragg, I've talked to PAOs, there, and I don't know because they have a staff, so it could be like how we pass around the Twitter beats. You know what I mean? It could be one day I will be tweeting something from the Twitters that is representative of the station, or you'll be doing it, or Warhol will be doing it, or Flash will be doing it, or Mom would do it. So maybe you never know. So yeah, he was out
unless I want you to know, then I'll say this is Spanky.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Anytime you see a comment from us, like we'll be like even in the comments right now, I will always put -ice. I'll put like an ice in there or something like that, or
I usually do too.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's fair enough. I could stop like ragging on POs for a minute and talk about like the new 2-year enlistment thing, because I think that's pretty cool.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm glad that, because I think, now we just got it locked in March 10th. March 10th, we're going to have USAREC join us.
Yes. I don't know exactly who all it is, but it should be the command team. Yeah. And I will definitely have names, like, exactly if it's going to be one, both. Are they going to drag an XO and S1 on? Who knows?
Yeah, so it's going to be it's going to be it's going to be the head. It's going to be basically the head chef from USAREC. So go ahead, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. What was it you were talking about, the 2-year thingy?
Yes. Okay. So this just came out a couple days ago that the Army expands 2-year enlistment options as the new screenings kick in. Army recruiting committee officials announced Monday, so just a few days ago, the service is expanding its short-term career offerings. Through the move comes amid recruiting turmoil caused by the new prescription drug screening system. And the press release said that 2-year active duty enlistments are now available for 84 jobs across the force, ranging from infantry and combat engineers to paralegals and aviation operations specialists. Applicants who select the short-term option will also be eligible for bonuses, though they will also have a 2-year drilling commitment in the reserve after leaving active duty, the release said. Certain career fields are offering up to $50,000 bonuses currently for longer contracts. So I don't think they're giving you $50,000 to come in for 2 years, because, I get it. But anyway, many people are apprehensive about long-term commitments right now, so we think having a shorter option will help give them time to see if the Army fits their life and goals. Major General Kevin Vereen, USAREC's top general. The Army has periodically offered short-term enlistments, but they're usually fairly restrictive since the service wants to see return on its training investments. But sometimes when the force needs to grow or is otherwise struggling to land recruits, the options will expand. Me personally, I think this is a good idea. I do believe that, like, when they do these short enlistments, at least, like back when I was, like, after my break in service and coming in, they did not count your training time as part of, like, your initial enlistment. So it would really be like, let's say your IET time is going to be like 16 weeks. So you would be coming in for like 2 years and 16 weeks, right?
Right,
and
exactly.
I think it's a good idea, because I think, for one, we'll probably have a lot less discipline issues. Let's say, like our initial, like, people that probably should be put out as failure to adapt, because they're probably just thinking, okay, I just got to do 2 years, I can suck it up, even if I freaking hate it, and then just go on with their lives. And you'll probably also get a lot of people that are like, oh, this isn't so bad. I get a lot more benefit out of this, and I'll stick around and stay in. So I like the idea.
That's that right there. I think in the way you put it, because I joined I joined the reserve component before I went active duty, so to kind of like see what would it be like, you know what I mean? Of course, I ended up liking it, obviously, but that right there, I mean, think about it: 2 years, 2-year commitment after training, and then you have 2 years reserved afterwards when you get out. And then you get a little bit of some bonus cash. Man, I can't wait for USAREC to come on, because that's some.
Right.
That's going to be some.
And it's drilling reserves for 2 years afterwards, so it's not like IRR.
Right. Exactly. It's drilling. So you're basically still, it's still the quote unquote, well, 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks out of the summer. I don't know.
Right.
And all the time that I've spent on the reserve side of the house, it was never like that. I was busy as shit.
I'm like, I've never seen you, like, it's more like, I don't know, 4 to 5 days a month.
Yeah, depending.
A month in the summer.
That's what, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It might end up being a, who knows? But again, like you were just saying, maybe it'll be one of those things to have a soldier test out if they want to stay in longer. You know what I mean? And maybe some of the incentives, the incentives to have, what would be cool? Is maybe adding another bonus for those 2-year enlistments if they re-enlist for longer. Does that make sense? So like,
oh yes, it does. Like let's say if you were going to enlist for like 4 years and it would have been a $50,000 bonus, like, okay, if they get done with their 2 years and then they decide to reenlist to make the 4 years, then they get the bonus.
Right,
that
right,
they
exactly.
got if they decided
Yeah,
4
yeah,
years.
exactly.
I'm down with that.
Yeah, think about all those Camaros and Chargers and Challengers in the barracks parking lot.
Yes.
That
get
you,
that economy moving. Those car sales.
get that economy moving. That's right. Go support your retired sergeant major selling you that car for 85% APR. We finance E1 and up, and your LES is your credit. So there you go.
There you go. Well, and also like other countries like Korea, everybody has to do 2 years. So we're not there yet.
Yet.
Yes.
Yet.
And I did say yet.
Yet. That's some big. That's some big. Yet.
Yeah, and I hope we never get there because I really would be one of those people that say it. Oh, I'm glad I'm retired because I wouldn't want to work with a bunch of people that don't want to be there.
Daniel, with rented rims, exactly.
Yes.
With rented spinners,
finance tires,
finance tires, and if you have not seen repossessions until you see somebody get their rims repoed. Woo, man. Speaking of trashed up rides, did you see what happened in did you see the main page TL about what happened? What had happened was a soldier had some nourishment.
Yes.
And not only did he have some, he had some alcoholic beverages, but then he exactly that Rent-A-Center rims, exactly that, especially in Augusta and Columbus and clean and brag. It's like saying that. And he was like, "Come on, man! I thought you like being at Fort Bragg." Yeah, I like Fort Bragg because you can do Fort Bragg stuff, but Fayetteville. So at any rate, there was a troop that decided to drink the drink. And he really got
like what he wrecked like 12 cars.
He wrecked 12 freaking cars, man.
Like, wouldn't you think after the first one just to stop? I don't know. I'm like, I can't imagine being that drunk. I just can't imagine, like, to hit 12 cars. You know that scene in The Wolf of Wall Street?
Yes.
Where he thinks he gets home safe, but he really, like, his car's, like, beat all
his
the
car's
hell.
all trash.
Maybe that's what it is.
I mean, that's some serious kind of drunk, though. You know what I'm saying? To do that. Hang on. Let me pull this up. Somebody just said, "Yeah, right." Oh, yeah, right. Oh, you must be new here.
Oh, you want to
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, right. You must really be new here, son. Let me show you what "yeah, right" looks like. Let me go ahead and change the page here, and then there you go. That's yeah, right at this. You get. I got your "yeah, right" here. Yeah, right.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I always have receipts. Anything I talk about.
Right, exactly. So
back that up.
So 12 vehicles were smashed from a DUI. Now, first off, look at that poor Mustang. And anybody who drives a Mustang, anyways, is maybe they should have. Okay, I don't want to be a dick to that person who got their Mustang smashed, but maybe a couple more smashes to that Mustang would have probably been better than the Mustang itself, brand new. But that's just me. I'm not a Mustang guy.
All those people had insurance,
right?
And I'm sure USAA is crying right now.
Right, USA, yeah, exactly. Hey, look at all this. Anyway, so there's the vehicle right there that smashed up, built Ford Tough. It was a Ford F-150, and that he went through 12 vehicles that got smashed up, and this is like at Stewart, and this is where it happened.
Okay. I didn't remember or didn't know where it was. I just know by looking at those barracks that it was not Hood.
Exactly. So it's a Mustang. It's a Mustang. Yeah, I'm getting all the comments in here.
Good one.
It's a good one like that. Yeah, unless it's an old 1960s like Bullet from the movie Bullet or Gone in 60 Seconds Mustang, then that's cool. But any other Mustang after that, whatever. But yeah, look at that. Look at that. Was he driving an MRAP? No, cause he was driving.
Like even that one with the Mustang. Like just look at that guy. I bet that's his. He's just standing there with his hands in his pocket, just like with his putter, look at his feet.
Built Ford Tough. That was the perpetrator's vehicle. Now, first off, this is the kid that needs to be moved off a post immediately. Because if I was a Joe in the barracks and I had a vehicle with 24% APR, and I just got back from a deployment, and then I see this truck right here, and I see the driver, I'm surprised this kid did not have wall-to-wall counseling administered to him immediately. We're talking Dimension Lumber wall-to-wall counseling with some freaking slaps across the head. I mean, look at that.
Yeah, and then there's probably one, like the NCO that was on staff duty. He's like, well, goddamn, why didn't he hit my car? Because that NCO probably has good insurance and was like, I'm going to get your car out.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, the NCO probably got in his car and then hit one of the cars and say that the kid did it.
Yeah, don't move it over there. That white car right there, that's probably the NCO's
exactly.
car.
That's the staff duty. As a matter of fact, you're gonna see like the TMP get pulled up in there too, the GSA vehicle. We need a new van, quick! Oh man. Like a rock? No, it wasn't. No, that's not like a rock, dude. That's a Ford. That's built Ford tough. Ford. This is the DUI special right here. A red Ford F-150. Yeah, look at that, man.
Like you were first starting, I was a attachment sergeant. Can you imagine getting this call?
Right. First sergeant, I got something for you. What's up, man? Yeah. So so and so. Yeah. He got in a wreck in the barracks. Oh shit, that sucks, man. Yeah, he was drinking. Oh man. So how many? So is he okay? No, he's okay, but he did some damage to some vehicles. What do you mean vehicles? Freaking about 13 of them. First sergeant. You know what I mean? I'd be like, what? I'm showing up there in my freaking t-shirt, boots, and ranger panties immediately out of bed. It's like, what the hell's going on? But what's that? Not service connected. Exactly. Woo, man. There's a lot of drama going on about the VA. Did you see some of the VA stuff that was posted on the TO? And man, people went off. I was like, holy shit, about VA benefits and VA fraud and all that. So, anyways. That's another, we'll have to talk about that another topic later, but
we don't have time to get into that right now. We've got a guest coming on.
Yeah, exactly. We got a guest. So, anywho, we're gonna take a break, and we'll be right back with our guest. And our guest again is going to be Sheyla Scholl, again, powerhouse specialist, a reserve specialist, and she's gonna tell us her story, man. And I'm gonna tell you what, if you are not, loaded, if you anyways, you're just gonna
just listen to the interview.
You just listen to the interview, okay? No ass clowning in there either. You've been playing all fucking bullshit or making your stupid comments, because then I will definitely ban you from the stream. You can come back, but I'll just ban you from the stream.
See, you're better than me. I'll permanently ban you.
Yeah. Well, actually,
now.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Spanky's gonna be given He's gonna be given the helm. So here you go. So. Anywho, so we're going to take a break right quick, and then we'll be right back. So, shots.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Take it from me, Ice. You can't just float around space not caring about stuff forever.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Shit in the bag, Pogue.
sirens are going off. Another rocket attack. I've got my boots and got my ammo in my 50-pound sack. Boys headed to war in this world unknown. The only peace of mind I've got are these letters from home. Another day attack. I've tried to talk and tell you about it, but it ain't the same. All these thoughts that run through my head, well, they can't be tamed. Another day has come and gone. Another night I'm all alone. I didn't think I'd be this far out here in Kandahar. Another day has come and gone. Another night I'm all alone. I didn't think I'd be this far out here. We ain't far from Kandahar.
I am here determined to stop this future atrocity.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
Ring, but I want to welcome you to Sergeant's Time, Shayla. How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Man, it's what a crazy mill week, man. Have you been listening earlier? What's been going on with the stories of reporters and embeds and deployments in Afghanistan?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy out there. I've been looking at videos on Twitter, live videos of what's been going on and all the things that are being said. And, it's kind of odd to just kind of be there and also pretend like nothing's going on over here. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like we're just, I guess we got things going on here and nothing to see here, nothing to PAO here or whatever. So,
yeah.
So, first off, I want to thank you for coming on here. And I know I've already told the audience that the topics that we're going to be discussing are going to be some pretty heavy topics. So it's if you guys need to step out, go right ahead and step out. If you guys need to, anybody you want to talk to or you really want to hang on, I recommend that you hang on. Shayla invited me to one of her presentations, and I will say that every leader needs to hear this. Every leader needs to
absolutely
to pay attention to this, because you've actually in the discussions that you and I had, I didn't know that some policies when it came to sexual assault didn't apply to specific groups or I would say Compo 1, Compo 2, or what other audience members would say, the reserve or active component.
Right.
What? Holy shit! What? First off, you got a whole damn law written about you, or you got it named after you.
Right.
Did you have any specific input to that law written?
So, I mean, the input really that I had is basically, when I went to go report my sexual assault to civilian police, I mean, ultimately I was like rebuffed. And because of that, local police are the people that typically respond to sexual assaults just all over across the state of Minnesota. But it makes it extra complicated for guardsmen. So civilian police are typically taking our reports of sexual assault, and that's just how it works in the National Guard. Even if we're on posts, they're still getting turned over to the local police. So for like Camp Ripley, it would be Morrison County, or, people who live on the outside, it would still be Morrison County or even Crow Wing County. That's the county that I reported my sexual assault to. I grew up in Brainerd, Minnesota, so Crow Wing County is the area that I would report to. Especially given the place where it happened. You usually report in the jurisdiction where it happened. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I honestly didn't know from like going from training and taking all of my guard side training, taking all of my active duty, like IET side training, all of the SHARP training, completely overlooks the fact that everything is totally different on the guard side, for sure.
So you've only been in for how long?
I've been in since 2015. I had some pause time there in 2019 to have my eldest and my youngest daughters, Juliet and Olivia. But then I came back and re-enlisted. Came back out of the IRR in 2021.
Well, congrats. Welcome.
Yeah,
welcome
thank
back.
you.
Welcome back, I guess.
Yeah, right.
I know some individuals, once they go out, they're like, I'm done. But, that's pretty good that, again, appreciate you coming back. So with this only being in for since 2015, what can you walk us through some of this, of what happened?
Yeah. So in 20, I am a total dragon soldier all the way. I am a CBRN specialist, and I graduated from Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri in September of 2016. And the night I graduated from AIT, right after I got off the plane, I was sexually assaulted by my boyfriend at the time. Actually assaulted in Aiken, Minnesota. It was still in the jurisdiction of Crow Wing County. And unfortunately, like I said before, when I went to go report it to Crow Wing County Police, I was told that by reporting my sexual assault, I would essentially ruin a young military man's career over some hardcore sex gone bad. That is what the sheriff's deputy said to me while I was standing in front of him, covered in bruises as a 18-year-old kid. And the guy was old enough to be my dad. The sheriff's deputy was old enough to be my dad. So it was hard. It was really hard to take that, insult to injury, already being humiliated by being sexually assaulted. And part of that, I think it's important for me to establish the context that I was in a relationship with the person that sexually assaulted me. What had happened was specifically that I had some established boundaries beforehand, and those established boundaries were eventually violated during consensual sex, and that is basically what the sexual assault was.
When the police took the report, what was the response time to? I mean, it just stopped it right there when he said the individual.
I mean, he made the report. So I basically just kind of escorted him. I thanked him for coming to my apartment and retrieving my belongings that were from my rapist's house. And, after being rebuffed by him, I just kind of escorted him out of my apartment. He basically annotated my response as non-responsive. I can't remember what I'm called in the police report or whatever, but it's like defendant is not responsive, case is now closed or something like that. I remember reading it. I have the record somewhere, but Jesus. It's basically like he basically said that I didn't follow up, which there was no additional phone calls. I called him. He never answered or followed up with me. He just closed my case. And unfortunately, that seems to be, I wrote an article for Army Times just recently, and in that article, I refer to a Star Tribune piece on, rural Minnesota's sexual assaults that kind of just go by the wayside. Just because Minnesota is a huge state and, there's a lot of ground to cover. But the rural side of Minnesota, there's so much out there, and so many things get overlooked and so many people get overlooked. But most importantly, these cases of sexual assault, there's a piece called Denied Justice by the Star Tribune. Of my case, but so many other women across the state of Minnesota. It's a beautiful piece. It's so awesome. Just touching, absolutely touching piece. And if you Google it, you can see the videos, and it's a very interactive platform. But I mean, it's very reminding of the time and of the bureaucratic failure there, but absolutely.
Now, from that point, you at that point, what I mean, you had to have felt like this is some straight bullshit. I need to. What am I going to do next? I mean, what's my next avenue to get help or to report this? What did you do then after that?
Well, I mean, it was the day that I graduated from AIT, so I hadn't even had the opportunity to unpack my bags yet. I mean, my uniforms were freshly, dry cleaned and everything. I came home in my uniform that day, changed at the airport. Like, I mean, it was just bizarre. I was holding my stuff as I was getting screamed at by my ex-boyfriend, and it was just all my bags, my graduation bags, my placards, my I Love Me binder in my arms, and I'm just sitting there. So it was crazy. I didn't even have the chance to in-process to my new unit yet. So first of all, I didn't even know who to report to. Second of all, I had already been aware of the way that women are talked about when, reporting sexual assault. So I didn't want to be, the chick who shows up to her first unit, with a sharp case.
Right.
I just didn't, because I just knew the way that people talked about, that there's a huge negative connotation around reporting. So I didn't want to already have, that, I guess that cloud hanging over my head, especially given the fact that my unit is incredibly close to my hometown. And, I would end up going to drill with people that I know, my whole life and grew up with my whole life, or people that I'm local to, people that interact with my family on a regular basis. Who knows,
Right, exactly.
So I didn't report it to the National Guard until like a year later.
Now, what was their reaction to it? What was their initial? How does it work with the National Guard as a National Guard or Reserve Component soldier to navigate that process?
So, like, I basically asked my first line leader, who our unit SARC is. We have unit SARCs. We usually will have them at the battalion level. If I remember correctly, we always have them at the battalion level. I was in a brigade support battalion, so I was already, relatively very easy to access right there.
Right.
I just asked who our unit SARC was, and, she got me to my unit SARC. My unit SARC did an intake interview. I had actually waited until I was done with chemotherapy to report it. And so she did an intake. She met me at a place on Camp Ripley. There's a lot of paperwork, sworn statements, evidence, production, it's pretty similar, I think, in terms of like the paperwork side, to, maybe like an active duty report. I don't know. I've never made one on that side, but
right. Now, hold it for a second, Shayla.
Yeah.
Chemotherapy.
Yeah.
You say that like it's and then I had chemotherapy and dude, stop right now.
Yeah.
You were going through cancer at the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, so yeah, back at Bragg, no, I was right after, so 4 months after I was sexually assaulted, I was diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a blood cancer at 19 years old. Yeah.
And how long?
Yep.
How long did your chemotherapy last?
So I was diagnosed in January, and I completed treatment in September of 2017. So, yep, about 8 months, 9-ish months.
And we're clear, right? Everything's.
Oh yeah, we've been in remission since then. We are good to go. You know, it's awesome. It's definitely good to be in remission. That's for sure. I am
really.
very lucky to be in remission, especially given, you know, my 3 weeks or whatever it was to live when I was diagnosed initially. So, yeah.
Holy shit, man! And
Yeah.
God, so you had to navigate that. Then you had to navigate, you know, and then somewhere in the middle there you had children's, right? You had, you know, I'm just trying to establish a timeline, but you've gone through some. I mean, that's how did you? We'll get to the port part real quick. We'll put a pin in that one, but how did you build that resilience facing cancer and going through a sexual assault, having to stronger individuals have fallen from this shit or have passed from it or whatever. How did you do it?
I mean, it was really the community that I found during cancer treatment, during, you know, the sexual assault, during, you know, everything. I've found so much community in like the suffering, and even, you know, and as much as the suffering is the negative part, there's so much positive to come out of the community that I found in, like, not just cancer. I love my cancer friends. I love my military friends. And sometimes those things intersect. Like, it's crazy, actually. I had a friend who's listening right now. Hi, Melissa. I had
Melissa.
a friend who I had been following for a couple years, actually. And we had kind of talked a little bit mutually about being sexually assaulted, and that is something that, you know, we bonded over a little bit, and it was just bizarre. This is gonna sound like a stupid, like, cancer novel, one of those like My Sister's Keeper type stuff, but it's so bizarre. But she had been following me on Twitter for a long time, and we had bonded over, you know, she saw my stuff about my law and like all the things I've been doing, and she reached out to me to confide in me, you know, about being also a victim of sexual assault as well.
Right.
And so we bonded over that, and we were talking about it. And then she started tweeting about her back hurting and like having all these weird, bizarre symptoms and like itching. And she started messaging me like daily, talking about like she was so tired, sleeping like 18 hours a day. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. So I told her to go to the doctor because like her symptoms were almost identical to mine. And lo and behold, she was also diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and she is an active duty Marine. Yeah, I know. I know. I told you it was going to be some stupid My Sister's Keeper
No.
thing. It's super cool though, because like, I mean, the community, right?
Right. No, exactly right. Because you went through a situation, a very hard situation to begin with, a very rough time, and then you had another event that you two can actually commiserate and relate to. That was like a That was like it was almost like you said. There's nothing wrong with that. It's almost, you guys were almost on a cosmic level of understanding in sisterhood. Right. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah. So yeah. Melissa, first off, and Melissa, you doing good? Is she good? I mean, I see her.
So she has, she's actually pregnant with her son. She did relapse, so we are on our second bout of chemotherapy, but we are gonna be good. We are having our baby here soon, I believe.
That's what I'm talking about.
And I'm hoping that everything is going to go well. I am trying to get out there in April to come help her with her son. And yeah, she was actually, we just had a fundraiser event not too long ago on Combat Boots and Cancer. And she's all over my website, and It's just been so.
I can feel the love. I mean, I you both in the chats and talking, and I've seen her discuss. So
yeah.
So now we're going to talk about combat boots and cancer. Anyways, this is part also why you're here too.
Right.
So let's pull that pin out. What we discussed of the reporting portion of this, because this is where after you reported and you went to your SARC, what happened then?
My SARC was awesome. I mean, she was super understanding, very, very, very committed to getting me to the resources that I needed. But just the process itself, I think, before my law was implemented, it was so typically what will happen is your sexual assault on the guard side, if there's no, if the police overturn jurisdictional investigations over back to the National Guard.
Right.
So basically you would report, it would go to the local police then finish their investigation gets turned back over to the National Guard, and then National Guard will then tap in the National Guard Bureau to call the Office of Complex Investigations, which is the third party that investigates complaints of sexual assault at the request of the Adjutant General for that state, to come and investigate.
So that process right there, then, when it comes to the jurisdiction, that it also covers the investigative portion, but does it also handle the outcome of it? Like, okay, we recommend this individual get thrown in jail, or this is a, you know what I mean? How does that work on that?
So that is entirely, yes, they make recommendations, and then it'll result in an only administrative action. So because of the lack of, I guess, resources, I think, and I don't know if I'm saying this right because of the fact that it's so complicated, unless the state were to convene a court martial on behalf of the state against the individual, then the only, if it didn't meet the guidelines for criminal sexual conduct as a civilian, then the only, I guess, avenue for punishment on the guard side would be an admin action, because there's no resources allocated. I think, if I'm making sense of this, there's
you're making complete
financial
sense. Yeah,
there's no financial resources allocated to
exactly.
the process.
There's no exactly that. It almost seems like when it comes to certain things, the guard wants to participate in that portion of it, and then in other things it doesn't want to do it because it's just you would think something like that would be of a more higher priority for resources, because any other events that you do while you're in the guard, you fall under what their jurisdiction is, and it almost seems like the complicated. Because it's complicated, they don't want to do it, and
so the answer was to that basically was the Office of Complex Investigations. From my understanding, there was a hearing just recently on the congressional side of things, to start addressing the way that the National Guard handles sexual assaults, because there's this huge turnover.
Right.
And I've actually seen, my legislation pick up in different states, like Texas. I've been following up with Texas National Guard specifically. I actually went out to their garrison command and I talked to their SAPR team, and they had a bill that was similar, but it was wrote differently, codified differently.
Right.
So I guess it was unsuccessful in the impact that they wanted it to be.
And I think some states actually have it written on their own way to get it, like you said, ratified or codified or put it in their system, that it
right.
It has to go through certain wickets before it even gets sent through. Now so then that means, well, we can get into Shayla's law. Sheyla's Law then does what through all this process? Because I'll be honest with you, I mean, an admin thing, I mean, getting admin discharge from the freaking National Guard, I mean, I don't want to say it's not a big deal, but you're just getting an admin discharge from the fucking National Guard. It's not going to be like a...
Right.
You know what I mean? You're a sexual assault. You commit rape, dude. You should be in freaking cuffs, prison, whatever. I mean, I thought that would have been the process. So what does Sheyla's Law do for your state then?
So Sheyla's Law delegates the jurisdictional authority of investigations from the local police to the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. So basically state police instead of local police. So in the event that a National Guardsman reports a sexual assault committed by another National Guardsman, local police will likely respond because they're the closest resource in the area, right. Or, what have you. Usually there's like a state patrol in every like larger metro area. It depends. Minnesota's a pretty big state and, whatever. But typically the local will respond, but then wait and then have the state patrol or a state police come and then do the investigative portion from the initial statement, additional follow-up, So basically, it removes the need for Office of Complex Investigations to come out. What really made my 2-year investigation so long is the fact that there was a huge backlog for the Complex Investigations is one office headed by the National Guard Bureau, and they are tasked to all 50 states and other territories. So while while I'm on the hook, I reported my sexual assault in August of 2017. I wasn't interviewed until May of 2018.
Wow.
They were just like not able to get to me because, there's 50 states and like 4 other territories because, there's only so many people in that one office to go around.
Right, exactly.
And so, yeah, they didn't even get to interview me until May of the next year. And it's just like basically what would have been remedied by my law is now it's down from the fact that, you have somebody who is hired by the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension because on average in the state of Minnesota, according to their response board, there's about 12 to 13 cases annually. So you have somebody who is tasked and staffed specifically to those cases. And on average, you might have one a month, but that gives that person the very reliable ability to investigate those cases thoroughly and to the standard that they need to be investigated. Right. So it's down from the 2 years or whatever that I experienced down to months now, which is insane to me. I thought it was going to take more bureaucratic, of a bureaucratic, I guess, bump in the road for survivors, but I'm really, really happy to be wrong about it.
No, yeah, I just hearing the timeline and everything too. So, who did you reach out to? Like, what made you? I mean, obviously, it was the assault that was a catalyst. But when you started seeing through this shit, what was the? I'm done with this shit. I'm gonna fight this. Who did you talk to? Who was your point of contact?
So basically, through cancer, I started getting politically involved, and that was the way I got started doing Medicaid work requirements. I actually was on Medicaid while I was going through treatment instead of TRICARE Reserve Select. So I testified against Medicaid work requirements for Minnesota, and that's how I kind of dipped my toes into the water of political advocacy. And I mean, I was able to accomplish, in DC, getting a bill signed by President Trump at the time for cancer patients to pause their student loans while in treatment without compounding interest for the duration of treatment plus 6 months afterwards. So, I mean, that was what motivated me to start speaking out about my sexual assault, because that gave me closure to my cancer experience. And then I could finally focus on, processing the sexual assault afterwards, after, I was put back together basically internally by chemotherapy, and physically, whatever, but it gave me the ability to kind of put some closure to, that experience. And that's what really motivated me and gave me the opportunity to do it. And so by means of just accidentally being politically involved, my mother-in-law, who is probably watching right now, thank you. My mother-in-law, who is watching right now, I attended an event for the DFL party, a local meeting, and there was a candidate there who had interest in running for that district house, the state house for that district. I am from Mounds View, Minnesota. That is where I vote out of while I'm in Texas, and as a military spouse. And I started talking to her because, she had told me that she was wanting to run for candidacy. And she met me at our local Caribou Coffee, which is to die for, the best coffee in the entire United States. I'm sorry, Duncan is a pure second. Just gotta shout out our local Minnesota coffee.
Do it, go for it. Sponsored
no product endorsements, I promise. But she met with me for like 3 hours over coffee, and I told her everything that happened, and she made a promise to me that if she got elected that we would do something about it, and she kept her promise. I mean, COVID happened, my kids, I moved to Texas, whatever. Some years were in the middle of that, but she never gave up on me. And I mean, it makes me emotional to even think about that, to know that, that was a priority always in the back of her mind, to make sure that I was taken care of and listened to like I should have been the first time. And she gave me the ability to have this platform now, and I thank her so much for it.
Now I know, I mean, especially when you hear about when you have what you use, any political individuals that you have, you immediately go like, okay, what's your angle? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Did they at all? Did she? I mean, she's obviously elected. What's her name?
Kelly Moeller, Representative Kelly Moeller.
Kelly Moeller. Okay. So, Representative Moeller, did I mean, when her processes went through all this, did she at least keep you abreast of what was happening? I mean, what was it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she walked me through every little step, like when the bill was initially drafted. It was kind of, COVID happened in the middle of it, so It was like weird and broken a little bit. Like the Senate and the House went virtual, and it was just kind of a nightmare with everything going on. So there was some lag time in there, but over the culmination, I think, so it was formally drafted, I think, in 2020, late 2020. And then by the time the Texas storm, like literally hell froze over here down in San Antonio. And I ended up with like 1.5 feet of snow in my front yard in San Antonio. I was testifying on the law, on the House side, on the House side of the law. And, I wrote my letter, and I sat and I read it. And what I did not know is that, because of the given political situation with, the George Floyd and the public safety reform being such a hot button and very important topic in, across the country, but most specifically Minnesota, I was not aware that there was so many eyes on the public safety committee meeting. And I just thought, it was like my bill and I think like a funding bill and something else. There's like 3 bills there, and they didn't really seem like, super like, I don't know, controversial maybe is the right word, but
right.
It just didn't seem like it was that big of a deal at first. And then I start getting like oh my God, we're going to do a press release. Da, 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 da. Dude, you're on the news. Like, it's like, she kept me fully aware of everything.
Awesome.
She asked my permission for everything. She
No, I just
that woman.
I hear you, man. Well, because most of representatives, when they say we're going to keep in touch or we're going to work on something, usually some of them it usually doesn't work out that way. We're not here to bash, politicians. That could be another show, but most politicians don't even look at it like that. For her to take that time out, is admirable and just actually, you know what I mean? Just shows that she gave a shit. You know what I mean? It was.
Well, right. And her background, she was the assistant Hennepin County attorney for 11 years before she was elected. And she made her career being a staunch victim rights advocate. So, that's just the way, that's who she is. And it speaks volumes of who she is and who, what her position was, what her role was while she was in her position before.
Right.
It just, she's just an awesome human being, and I'm super happy to have her as my representative.
I guess I saw some of that testimony a little bit too. That's what got our interest too, is because we're like, well, wait a minute,
right?
A freaking specialist is doing this. How come we don't see, exactly, large and in charge specialists here? It's like, you're really not going to freaking just say this? That reminds me too. So, I know some of this stuff. There had to have been some haters and some freaking obstructions to the process.
Oh, of course.
There had to have been them. There had to have been some vet bros or some, you know what I mean? There had to have been some shit talkers that were like, no, this is bullshit or just that.
Absolutely.
So you obviously had them then. You did have the haters.
Absolutely. Absolutely I did. I got my counselings on being too political.
Wow.
Don't worry about it. We're just taking care of you, making sure, whatever. No, I definitely got my counselings. I think I made myself a little bit of a target while I was in my old unit. Because of my political involvement, and I really tried to, be as objective as possible while also staying true to myself and my experiences. But what I wasn't prepared for, aside from just the typical melodramatic BS that I get from, my perpetrators, side of the aisle, what I wasn't expecting is the amount of animosity that I received from other survivors, or it was crazy to me to hear like the gatekeeping. That's one of those things. So,
and that's the thing. I didn't realize it was. How do I say this without sounding? No, I don't want to be insensitive to the topic, but.
Right.
How could you gatekeep something like that? Everyone, you would think that advocacy to prevent or change laws or increase the awareness and enforcement of sexual assault, you would think we'd all be fucking kumbaya. Hey, how you? Great, thank you for joining in. And
you would think.
I didn't realize it was such a freaking industry. I didn't realize it was going to be like mine. You can't. You can't say that. I can only say that. How did you deal with that?
Yeah. I mean, so, it's just part of the deal. I mean, it's hard. It's really stressful. And I'm very, very small in the totem pole, as much as I feel like sometimes in my God complex or whatever, I'm a big fish, but it's stressful,
Hey,
I'm a human being. I have feelings, and it's really hard to have.
Shayla, I'm a retired sergeant major, and I don't have a bill named after me. Okay, yeah, that's some badass shit. That's like freaking, that's specialist with God complex on freaking. You know what I mean? Let's go. Yeah. I don't even have that, and you know what? But anybody else advocating should not be upset either. You should be proud of the Joes. From the mouth of babes, that comment, that quote. The kids are doing it. They're the ones that are seeing it. Us old dudes or us old leaders, we don't. Like I said, I didn't know that that there needed to be a freaking law written out. You know what I mean? I didn't know there was going to be a situation like that. So how the hell can anybody want to gatekeep that and then be another survivor at that point? And you start then those are the ones that's. How do I say this without? Again, I'm probably going to get freaking whatever. We're probably going to get shit talked anyways, just for discussing this. But But then what you're doing is this infighting that you're having for this type of advocacy, like who can advocate the best, then becomes from the outside point of view. Oh well, look, see, they can't get their shit straight. See, it's this big drama. That's why, people don't want to deal with that or whatever. I just don't understand it. You know what I mean? To me, it's just perplexing that. Any hater that's going to go after a specialist who has a freaking name, who has a named law after her, and she's trying to do good for the military on the reserve side of the house, you can't hate on that. You can't gatekeep on that. So the guys and gals who wrote you counseling statements or said that you had a God complex or said that you were over the top doing something. Yeah. Hey, look, personally, you might be annoying, but the cause that I'm saying, I'm just saying, personally, you might be annoying, but the cause that you're doing is just. The cause that you're doing, it opened my eyes. It opened a lot of the members of the WTF team's eyes too. That you're like, wait a minute, this is some gourmet shit. This is some shit that everybody needs to be aware of. That gets me to the next question now. Has this contributed to other states? Other states going, wait a minute, we got this comment right here coming from the specialist Shayla here, who assisted in authoring the law. What? Now we want some of this. Have they done that? Has any states that you can brief us up on that are involved in this too?
So, from my understanding, there is a lot of rumbling across the board from the NGB, and it's kind of scattering around, but I don't know. I mean, from Virginia, I think there was one established that was similar to mine. Obviously, it's codified different. It's funded differently, whatever. It comes from a different pile of money. Texas, again, had theirs, but it's codified differently. From my understanding, it was not codified properly to get the same effect that mine was. Right. So Sapper down here has faced some challenges, from my understanding. I don't know, and maybe it's just not making it to me specifically, but I have heard some states that have been interested, but it's very complex, and just the complex nature of how bureaucratic it really is makes it really hard for them to get to me, I think. Right. I don't know why that is, but it's just the way that I've seen it happen, especially when people are trying to reach out to me specifically. Yeah,
I mean, I think most of it that I've seen, and from one of the presentations that you invited me to that I sat in on, I think to me that it's that word of mouth stuff that gets it right. You have commands, and that's the next question I was going to say. Have you obviously been speaking? You just said you spoke to a Sapper team. Have you been speaking about your to other command teams aside from the one that I sat on? I mean, how many have you done?
So before last year, I was out at Fort Sill. I was out at the 434 Training Brigade. that I went to basic training at, which was super cool.
It's Colonel Blackman. Colonel Blackman, yeah. Yep, exactly.
Yep,
Great
Colonel
dude.
Blackman invited me and hosted me, and I was very junior and very dumb in my first brief, very inexperienced, but I am very much changed now.
Oh, I know what you were saying about how some of the first terms you said, some of the first words that came out of your mouth were not up briefing standards, but was still
absolutely not at the brigade level.
Well, no, but
you who had never presented at the company level, above the company level before. No,
but they're a bunch of red legs, so they can handle that. They were good to go. So you had that invitation, then the one you sat in on. So you've already been. Literally, you've been on a speaking circuit. You've been speaking on a invitation.
Yeah. So I just got done with the USAR Legal Command this last weekend. I have another one following up at the end of the month with the Legal Command again. I also have in April, Minnesota would like to host me again. It looks like Fort Bragg and Fort Campbell, Fort Sill again. And if I remember correctly, Fort Sam Houston, actually a training brigade that is right across the street from my reserve center actually wants to host me. So I am very lucky and very excited to do these trainings.
That's what I'm talking about. That's
yeah, I mean, and that's something that, I mean, it's crazy. I had a colonel ask me, what I thought about, his role in combating this issue. And I told him, I'm like, sir, if it's gotten to you, it's already too late.
Yeah.
And like, that's really what is important to me by me doing all of this, is that, like, I don't think this movement is going to be effective without faces like mine being out there and doing this training, specifically, like spearheading it, like legitimately, like being the face of it. I don't do the policy stuff. I don't do the technical stuff. I don't write the policy stuff. That's a higher officer's job. That's
right,
like,
exactly.
That's exactly what they are there to be there for. But for me, I am with the experience, and that is my role developing into an NCO, that I need to, get out to people and talk about, the things that had happened to me. So I can give that experience out there and make sure that, junior soldiers are there to hear it.
Right,
and hopefully little light bulbs will go off in their head if something similar is happening.
I'm just seeing how is it that, I mean, obviously the Army's got other shit to do, but I just kind of would think that the Army would be more flexing to more states, like they should be, I don't know, a templated, here's how National Guard soldiers should blah blah blah. You know what I mean? It's like there should be something at CAC at the Combined Arms Center at Fort Leavenworth can draft that up, part of their command thing. I mean, have you been invited out to them? I mean, we could make some calls and we could talk to some people to get you out to.
Well, I'm happy to take the extension to the National Guard Bureau. Actually, General Jensen is the director of the National Guard Bureau. From my understanding, our former TAG. So, I have that connection there, but it's hard because, like I said, the bureaucratic issues, you have all of these individual state legislatures. And I mean, not to get political, but like it's hard enough just organizing regular political sessions without putting in, extra emphasis on the states. Because like most people are under the impression that everybody in the entire military is subject to the UCMJ at all times, always, which is not the case at all. And like, it's just not the way it works. I mean, you can say it till you're blue in the face, but that doesn't make it true.
Right. No, look at the online stuff. You know what I mean? Look at the online shit posting that individuals do on and off of duty. You don't know if they're active duty or not. So
absolutely.
You said you wanted to talk about the online stuff with or talk about the West Elm Caleb controversy.
Oh yeah, the West Elm Caleb controversy, where there's like a ridiculous level of cancellation of people who have mutually dated. Do you know that controversy specifically? What I'm talking about, the TikTok controversy?
Yeah.
Are you hip on TikTok, man?
Thanks. You're not the first person to call me old man. My daughter's listening too. They probably were like, haha, she called you old man. No, I yes, I'm hip to TikTok. What are you talking about? I know those things of talkness that people. Okay, honestly, I look at some social media posts, and we do post TikToks as well. So yeah, I am familiar of the post, but I'm not familiar of the. I don't know how to use it. I don't have my own app, or I don't have that. Even though my daughters want me to do Disney freaking sing-alongs and shit for so I'm gonna have to cave and do one. But so
I love it.
So a little bit of the West Elm Caleb controversy. So what? The cancellation for TikTok. Can you enlighten the audience, because we're not just on one platform. We're broadcasting right now, by the way.
So West Elm Caleb was a TikTok controversy, from my understanding, that was a poor, sad sap that was, I think, in his mid-20s, that was dating via Bumble. Was it? I think it was Bumble or something, or Tinder. He had a bunch of dates with a bunch of women in one particular area. I think it was New York City or something like that. Some major large city. And he ended up going on all these dates, and then he just kind of like dissipated or ghosted them, or whatever the term is called, or he just didn't follow up, or whatever, had some one-night stands,
so he's
or
dating.
something.
So he's basically dating. That's like the
basically
new
dating,
yeah,
like a normal
dating.
From my understanding, that sounds like your mid-20s, whatever.
Dating.
Your mid-20s bender that everybody goes on. I don't know. I didn't have a mid-20s bender. My mid-20s bender was much younger.
I had one. Yeah.
There's that.
So basically he ghosted everybody. So what was you said the cancellation of it? What was the big deal? I mean, that sounds like dating. That sounds like.
Yeah. So all of these women basically went pitchforks out against this kid for dating, basically. I mean, they were basically likening all of the ghosting or whatever to abuse.
Wow.
There was some pretty dangerous
so it became
assumptions.
I was about to say,
yeah, it really became accusations of abuse just for dropping off of conversation.
Well, I've seen some Twitter and some Facebook posts of individuals, man and woman, that ghost all the time. They feel like to them that's as dating. Hey, look, no. Since you want to call me an old man, back in the day, before the land of TikToks,
I was gonna say,
you had a phone call.
Do it?
Yeah, how do we do it? We just phone call. Hey, what's going on? And you had your own phone. You called up, and someone left a voicemail, and you didn't answer the voicemail, or you let it ring and went to voicemail, and then whatever, you never got a call back. Then you just looked at it. You just count your losses. You're like, I guess they don't want to date or whatever. And then you go out to the club, or you go out to a bar, or whatever scenario you get a number from. It's getting that number. Right. If you don't get a response back, or you got obviously a wrong number, we didn't. You couldn't write an article in a newspaper to cancel somebody. You couldn't say, you know what I mean? So and so didn't return my fucking call, so this didn't happen.
Right, that would be crazy.
And that's what it seems. For us old timers, that's what it seems like. It seems like it's that Karen or male. What do you call them? Male Karen or male Karen, whatever you want to call them. But both male, they both bitch when you get ghosted. And I'm like, what do you think happened back in the day? Back in the day, if you didn't get a phone call returned, you got ghosted. Or if you went to voicemail, you got ghosted. Or you got told, hey, stop calling me. This is not working out. I don't want to date with you anymore.
Right.
And hang up.
Exactly.
Then there you go. That's
exactly
life. Life finds a way.
And then you just drive on and keep going. And keep dating.
So this poor kid is on social media, and I think I did hear about this. Come to think of it. So this kid goes on social media, or his name and everything's brought up on social media.
Yeah.
And he gets dragged.
Like, there was just like hundreds of videos that were like, yeah, I met West Elm Caleb and he ghosted me, and it was just like this.
Oh my God.
You know the scene in Mean Girls where
Yes,
they're like,
yes.
raise your hand.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's just like a whole thing of me, because guys do it too. I've seen guys fucking say, oh, she didn't call me back. I'm like, oh, fucking deal with it, you know, or whatever. But yeah, it's like both sexes are doing. Man. Yeah, exactly. It's just this fucking life.
Right.
So the accusations that were levied on this kid is where it defeats the whole process of.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, it was like, you know, you're extending the olive branch so far that you have like basically made like anything that doesn't feel good or like anything that hurts somebody's feelings. Like, yes, I understand that in some cases, like ghosting is like rude, whatever. Like, sure, it doesn't feel good to be ghosted. You know, I'm a ghoster. I have
so
definitely
mean.
ghosted before.
That's so mean.
I know.
It's okay. I think my daughter's a ghoster. Yeah, you're gonna be canceled. Forget it. You might as well just go ahead and show fucking DMs, post it all over social media. That's like the new. That's the new thing now. You hate on somebody, and it's like how do you, how you ask me, how did you do it, or how did you deal with it? Well, the younger generation is like, I would say to my son, or I would say to my daughter, I was like, God, man, you freaking post something that someone doesn't like, they're gonna grab your DM and post it all over social media and say, you see what, you know, Baby Ice did, or you see what, you know, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, damn, well, no wonder you can't find fucking nobody, or no wonder everyone's, you know, attacking you on social media. I mean, of course, we're just going totally off the rails on that topic, but I know it is. I think social media sometimes is good, but then again, it's also damning to a guy just because dating. Because a woman, a guy that do that, I mean, I respect how someone dates is their business. But is there anything that you have online that you've learned from your, like, when you were dating after the how do I say this? Because then, of course, if I ask this question, people are gonna be like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're probably gonna victim blame. But did
I make any changes after I started dating after my assault?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I don't think it's inappropriate to suggest that, you know, making changes post-assault or even looking at behavior that led to the assault is suggesting. Exactly. I mean, it's the being condescending that about the behavior that led to the assault or beforehand is what is essentially the victim blaming. It's not the discussion that led to there. It's the being condescending about it. That's the important part of what is actually victim blaming, just to put that out there.
Yeah, no.
But I think I started, I met my husband off of Tinder. So like I made poor choices. Absolutely, I made poor choices. But post-assault, like, I was really, really bad drinker. Absolutely, really, really bad drinker. And I just, like, made the worst choices I possibly could after I was assaulted. I was in, like, a level of, like, nobody cares. Nobody, you know, like, screw everything is horrible. I'm just gonna be the stupidest idiot that I possibly can, you know, and I'm gonna make the poorest choices possible while I'm, you know, trying to emotionally process what happened to me. And I mean, you know, that's kind of how I dealt with it. And then after my husband and I got together, when he came back from training, you know, things started to kind of re-regulate and come back to normal, where I was able to be more in a stable relationship. And I was actually, you know, I mean, he taught me how to, like, care about myself again, post-assault. And as much as, you know, it was not his responsibility, he motivated me to do that. So absolutely, those are the kinds of changes that I made post assault that I think are really important. Like I just, I take more time to be a little bit more, I guess, present in like what I'm feeling, or like being re-traumatized or re-triggered by like certain things, certain songs or smells or anything that kind of puts me in that just like, oh, it's about to happen again state of mind.
Right.
Or, even when I do these presentations, like it's an ongoing thing. Like I'm recovering from post-traumatic stress disorder. So, I mean, it's not like I just, I had this thing happen to me and then I put it in a neat little box and then I never deal with it again. I mean, it's a part of me and it will always be a part of me forever. So like it's an ongoing process. And I think that that's important for everybody to know, is that like, some days are motivated by spite and some days like are better than others, and then some days there's really good days, and then some days you just really need that spite to just get out of bed.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just awesome that he's there to help you out with that stuff too, man. Cause
absolutely.
I mean that shout out to your old man, or I'm sorry, your husband.
Yeah.
That's how we.
Yeah.
That's older folks, your old man, old lady or whatever, But
yeah.
But that to me I think is important, because no one should ever have to tell you how you should process something. Like there should be no, well, you need to be like this and it has to be done like that. And it really, I hate seeing that when that was part of that survivor conflict that you were having between other survivors. More than likely, you were probably told that's not how you're supposed to act, or you're probably been told it should not have been this way, or why are you acting like this? And it's like, that's why I think there should be no, how every survivor processes something is how every survivor should process something on their own. You know what I mean? And respected.
Well, and there's so much other layers to it. I mean, there's like a lot of survivors, again, they adopt like, behaviors that are destructive to themselves, and whether that be alcoholism or drug addiction. I mean, you see a lot of survivors go on to get like DUIs and like other drug charges or whatever, anything related to substance abuse, or some kind of like coping mechanism, crutch type stuff. When you see somebody kind of like get sexually assaulted and then they further fall off the wagon, like I've seen so many survivors just eat other survivors alive because of a DUI or something, that happened after the assault, where like, yes, drunk driving or driving while under the influence is horrible. Don't get me wrong. I would never make an excuse for that. But at the same time, like, it's very common. And like to have the capacity to be, like understanding at the very bare minimum of like why that happened.
Right, exactly.
Is really important to establish that context. So
exactly.
Let's just not skewer somebody because they got a DUI after they got sexually assaulted. That just makes you kind of a bad person. But whatever, exactly. That's just my opinion.
No, I hear you. No, you're right, because there are a lot of things that I'm sure in specific scenarios, survivors probably said that they acted like this and then didn't tell leaders, and then leaders are only finding out afterwards, and then by then that individual was probably punished, or you know what I mean, or something punitive happened to them without knowing the root cause of what could cause it. I totally get that. Let's look. We talked about this for a minute, and I want to talk about your combat boots and cancer. You're also here to talk about that too.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna show the audience real quick just your page. Every time somebody comes on here and shoots the breeze with us, we like to show their wares. You got combat boots and cancer. Can you tell us about combat boots and cancer?
So Combat Boots and Cancer, I founded the nonprofit in 2018, right after I had just gotten out of my my phase of going to Washington, D.C., and I was inspired, and I did all that stuff with the student loans bill. I was inspired to finally like get myself, this ability to kind of put my my wherewithal to just give freely and give myself into my survivorship and have a little bit of something that I could keep forever. And that was my nonprofit, which is Caught My Boots in Cancer. It is specifically unique to military families and military affiliated families, so including veterans who are affected by cancer. Obviously we have our unique challenges that we face, but specifically, I work on, doing fundraising with Melissa. I did a fundraiser for a care package for her. We were able to get her like an Apple Pencil, all of this food, like instant food that she didn't have to work super hard to like make when she was in treatment, which was a godsend for me. I was subsisting off of like ice cream drumsticks and other terrible things while I was in treatment.
I'm about to say, but, is that? I mean, I would just consider that some comfort food, though, right? I mean, that.
It was. Yeah. So there's only so many things that you can eat during treatment, and ice cream is usually one of them. For some reason, it's either like super spicy food or like cold food. Ice cream is usually those things. But I was able to do a fundraiser for her where we got her all of this stuff, and then she in turn, I hosted another fundraiser on top of that where she helped me raise $1,000 for the organization, and that was my first $1,000 that I had ever raised, which was so cool. I'm just super, super excited to have all that, and with everything that's been going on, I'm also a college student. I have another survivor that is my co-founder, and his name is BJ, and he at the time was also in a med debt, an Air Force reservist. He had been diagnosed with testicular cancer in training.
We got his picture up right now. We got his picture up, so.
Yep, BJ, and he is actually a comedian in Los Angeles, and he is just amazing at what he does. He travels around the country, and mostly with Air Force Wounded Warrior, and does like comedian shows. I believe they're like
stand-up comedy events. You talking about stand-up comedy? Yeah. Well,
so stand-up comedy events, and then like he hosts workshops for
awesome.
Veterans and even people who are in Wounded Warrior to do like workshops to use stand-up comedy as like a coping mechanism.
Right.
Which
that's awesome.
Has been super awesome for us, and I'm hoping that with COVID finally, maybe chilling out, we can finally host some events. But yeah, I'm super happy to have him as an asset to the organization. And he is in remission. He is no longer in the Air Force. He was medically retired. I believe he had a relapse, and that put him kind of in the spin of everything. So then he was medically retired. And then he has just been concurrently doing his acting stuff and also his comedy stuff. So he has been super busy from my understanding.
We're gonna have to get his deets, because that way he can come on and shoot the breeze with our resident pop culture stand-up comedian dude CQ. We already got everybody. Everybody's already dropping CQ's name in the the chat. So now you also have done some writing. You've done some writing and some little blogs there about yourself called the Terminal Illists. Did I get that right?
Terminally Illest. Terminally Illest. My call sign. Yeah. Yep. it's been a name that has been coined to me since 2017. Yeah, that's what my friends have called me. It was initially a joke, but yeah, I have done some writing. I am a published writer now. I have some op-eds in Army Times, and I'm hoping that I can expand on that. I'm in the process of writing a poetry book for survivors across the state of Minnesota, and it is called Survivors of the Iron Range. It's exponentiary for me because of the fact that I've never wrote poetry before. I typically find poetry to be relatively challenging, but I've actually found it to be very therapeutic, despite being challenging. So I am actually super excited to have that turn into a book. I have not found a publisher yet, but that is what I'm planning to do with that. But basically, I'm just interviewing survivors and turning their stories with their permission into works of poetry, and it has been super cool. The survivors that I've subsequently interviewed so far and then wrote their poems have absolutely loved them so much. So it has been just a privilege to be able to do something like that.
Yeah, that is. I'm just reading this stuff right here.
Yeah.
And I mean, one of the articles that you have in here that you wrote, it says how my husband saved my life through Tinder. Now, I mean, those are some, like you just asked me, how did I do it? Well, this is like a boomer method of showing how you kids do things. You know what I mean? So I mean, looking at this stuff right here, it's. I mean, I was already reading that, but I didn't catch the terminally illest portion until I saw that article. And I'm like, I kind of chuckled at that, and then I was just like, that's freaking awesome. Now, you said you needed to find a publisher? Is that what it was?
So I mean, I don't know. I haven't really looked into like independent publishing. I typically try to like run with Minnesota-based brands and like companies. Like I bank through U.S. Bank and whatever.
Right.
It's a big deal for me to stay local, especially to Minnesota. So I have some publishers in mind. I just haven't really had the time to reach out quite yet, given the fact that I'm very like at the early stages of the development of my project. I think maybe when I get a little bit more developed into my poems, I have 3 of 12 made so far. And I'm hoping that I can get a little bit more before I have the ability to pitch something to a publisher.
Right.
But I want it to be very, very grassroots and very, I want it to be very local to Minnesota, and I want to be able to support a Minnesotan brand. So absolutely.
I hear you. It's not. I mean, you guys are. Minnesota's on the map, so it's nothing wrong with doing that and getting your community out. Shayla, we could talk all night, man. We've been normally I allot some guests about an hour, but you were on a roll, dude, and you friggin', you know what I mean? You got a God complex as it is, so I didn't want to.
My big head. There's only so much airtime that I could possibly take up. There's only so much helium up here, I mean,
If that we're subtexting somebody, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, you'll find out. Who knows? But anyways, thank you so much again, Shayla, for hanging out. I would ask that you kind of stay on the line for a little bit while we hang up, while we go on to break right quick, and then we can shoot the breeze and I there's some stuff that I can help you out with, some of the things we discussed. So
absolutely.
You have anything you want to say? You got anything you want to throw out there real quick?
I just wanted to shout out everybody who is watching me right now, who has supported me through everything, especially my mentor, Mike, especially my mother-in-law and my mom, my husband, who is probably watching me from downstairs and is also yelling at me to come downstairs. guys so much for extending the platform to me. I appreciate everything, and I hope that I am not the only specialist that is part of, this effort to bring sexual assault and sexual harassment more to light for the Army.
Well, I appreciate it. One of the comments right now, you're the capo of the E4 Mafia, and she is a badass, is what one of the comments was. So we'll be right.
You betcha.
We'll be right back, guys. We're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take a quick break to finish up some admin stuff with Shayla. But go ahead and go refill your glasses. I know we went a little bit more further, but what are you gonna do? I'm the boss. So we'll be right back. So everybody get some shots.
sun has shined my face. Since I made my way out west, since I've been tied to fate. Here don't hold a candle to that home I left behind. I need that southern comfort to ease my worried mind. So take me back, baby, where the child in me lives and breathes. Take me back, mama, way out past New Orleans, where it's dark at night except the pale moonlight
if that's really a thing, and I get authorized to do it once, it's pretty much going to be me sitting there talking shit, like, constantly.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Talking about a topic that most individuals don't even want to talk about. So, shout out and courage, like Gary said, Capo, the E4 Mafia. But anyways, again, I just wanted to do some housekeeping and knock out a couple of, who we have coming up and what we got going on, and also we got a lot of stuff going on. I gotta go on my phone. Hang on, I got like freaking the ultimate in. So next week, well, actually, I think I don't think we got a guest yet. Wait, what's the date? Today's the 10th, right? So we don't have a guest anything lined up for this week, but we will next week. At the end of the month, U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio have been invited to attend a mobile shoot, a live shoot. And with another veteran organization and our new friends from Military Broadcast Radio and the H-Train Show, and we're going to go out and do a on-site broadcast. It's going to be at the end of the month in Colorado Springs. So we're pretty pumped. So that's going to be an event. More details fall after that. But next week we're going to have actually let me just go ahead and just do the thing. We got Friday Night Freedom tomorrow. So y'all can talk about that stuff that you were talking about with crack pipes and shit like that. Cause and Pooks. We'll talk about that. And then next week we have Alan Beal. He's the CEO of Armed Forces Brewing. And he'll be on the Monday edition. He's the guy that has, what's his name? The guy who I keep saying this because I like irking them. The guy who killed Bin Laden, that guy. Anyways, he's that guy that reps that company. So this is the CEO of it. So it's Alan Beal is going to come on. Armed Forces Brewing, we're going to have an on-air beer tasting event, which is going to be pretty cool. And then on the 22nd, we're going to have Tito Ortiz, legendary MMA fighter. Tito Ortiz is going to come on to shoot the breeze on the 22nd of February with Pop Culture Warrior. I'm excited for that. It's going to be awesome. And then we're going to have Mark Lieben join Friday Night Freedom on the 25th. And he's going to come on and shoot the breeze with Cause and Pooks. He's been on here before. He's an author and he's wrote some good books. And then I think later on in March we're going to have Usurek. Oh no, Usurek's going to be in the house joining us, and we're pumped. So again, we're gonna have the command team from Usurek join us. Pay attention to all the graphics and posts and adverts that we have out. Right now, you're listening to us on 2 Facebook pages, a YouTube page, the Twitterage, and Twitch. So if you're youngins and you don't want to use what the olds use, you could just jump on Twitch and get on that. And of course, you can just download us on Google Play or Apple Podcasts. Do you think we should go on Spotify? Do you think if Spotify offers us some money, we should join them? Because I like trolling everybody about that. I think that's funny. At any rate, this is Sergeant's Time. Friday Night Freedom's tomorrow with Cause and Pookie. Monday editions with myself and Mom. And then Tuesdays, a CQ for Pop Culture Warrior with the Unpop Culture co-host, Radar. Wednesdays are our day off. And, of course, right back to Sergeant's Time every Thursday. Stay tuned. We're going to have more shows pop up. We're going to have a weekend show pop up. We're going to have a Wednesday show pop up. A lot of things are happening behind the scenes. I know, with life events that everybody goes through, it just takes some time to get this set up. And of course, there wasn't a show for Pop Culture Warrior this week because CQ was he got sick. I mean, he wasn't feeling good. His little tummy hurt, so he had to go see the medic. Put on quarters. But anyways, I'm glad he's feeling better. We're looking forward to him coming back next week. So anyways, thank you guys and gals for hanging out. And again, thank you, Shayla, for shooting the shit with us and telling us your story. A whole damn law written after. Damn. I didn't even have a law written after me. Shit. You're right. Tuesday did suck, man. Tuesday did suck without CQ. A whole law. Could you imagine? Shit. I don't even know sergeant majors and generals that have had laws written after them. I don't know. Maybe we need to step up. You guys are You guys are sandbagging. I'm going to get a bunch of hate. But anyways, thank you guys for hanging out. And again, shots. Thank you for listening for Sergeant's Time or watching Sergeant's Time. And we appreciate share, likes, and follows. So see ya.
There's a lot of tough talk on Twitter, but there's not a lot of real talk.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, this is SEAC retired John Wayne Troxel. You're listening to WTF Nation Radio, the station of choice for all of the badass MFers on the planet.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Watch us through the hubble as we celebrate the greatness of the United Planet of America. Space Force, we'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. Now we'll go to infinity and beyond. You'll hear our manly voices singing Space Force strong. The critics say sound doesn't travel in space, to which we reply sound will do as we say. Oh, Captain Kirk, your achievements, though notable and fine, as far as we're concerned, this is Deep Space Mine. And big fans, but Lord Vader, step away from the lightsaber. There can only be one, of course. Space Force. Ra-da-da-da-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum-dum-dum-dum, ra-da-da-da-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. Space Force, Space Force. We'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.